What's up, you guys? I'm hiking around the Red River Gorge in Kentucky. It's Red River Gorge. But I'm like, I got a few hours to kill. What if I just talked about some country music I've been loving lately? So I'll find a spot to post up around here. Okay. Stay. Okay, it's kind of good. Found a rock to use as a tripod. The main reason I wanted to make a video is I just have to talk about this Triston Marez album.
With the neon lights, everything's alright.
It's self-titled and it's awesome. I've listened to it so many times in a row and I'm so pleased with it. I got on board with Triston around Forgot About You. I knew he had kind of this Texas hit called Darlin', and then he's working with Alex Torres and same producers, Alex Torres and David Dorn, that Gabe Lee works with, and man, that is just like, that musical style, just gay. I get it. They get me, I get them. It's beautiful. Some words I would use to describe this Triston Marez record are crowd-pleasing, sophisticated, tone, because I like his voice, I'd say that, and just like country and fun. And plaintive. All these things. It's everything a good record should be. It's kind of got these sillier, faster, upbeat moments. Like Day Drinking is kind of the bop of the record.
Now day drinking leads to happy hour
and I think I love the sort of sequential lyrics of, you know, day drinking leads to something, which leads to Bloody Mary, which leads to margaritas. Margaritas lead to Bloody Mary mornings. Bloody Mary mornings lead to more day drinking. It's kind of this funny cycle, and it's so playful. I love also the slower ballad moments, like 2 beers in a bar.
Left 2 beers on a bar, never even drank them.
Or When She Calls Me Cowboy, or something about like leaving Texas. All those things feel like classic George Strait songs to me. They're the kind of love songs that aren't sappy, they're just super sincere, and they're delivered gorgeously. He has such a smooth delivery style. The sadder moments, stuff like Where the Neon Lies with Ronnie Dunn, are, I mean, really beautiful. I think I just think it's so, what am I trying to say? To me, what I love about this record is it doesn't force me to choose between these 2 roads that I don't want to choose between, of everything's got to be like hard-edged, like fuck the system, we're kind of on the outside, and like this is what traditional country is, and it doesn't have to be embrace all evolution of country, and it's just this pop bullshit. This record's just in this crowd-pleasing middle lane where it sounds super country. You do get a ton of fiddle, and you do get a ton of steel, and it's produced so tastefully. There's even accordion on this song called Texas Swing.
That's how we do the Texas swing. Just a little.
That is a Gabe Lee co-write. Oh man, and it's so fun and it's so different. Yeah, sophistication is the word I would use for this. These are just really considered melodies, and they're not like this. It's not the same style of songwriting as someone like, who would be a good example? It's not going to be like Jason Isbell type songs where it's this poetry from the soul. It is beautiful poetry, but it's like meant to be more crowd pleasing than that, and I think it could be. 2 beers on the bar, that, like, I can see that easily being a mainstream hit single. That feels like Luke Combs could record that to me, and maybe this will be the rare independent song that does become a mainstream hit. But I just really am tickled by that record. I think it's so good. There's also a huge spider like right there, which kind of makes me want to move from filming, but go check out that Triston Marez record because I think you'll like it. Okay, I found a picnic table, so I feel like I'm really moving up in the world. I was also just walking around here thinking about award shows, because I didn't talk about the ACMs and people. I used to always do these videos that were kind of recapping award shows or prognosticating about the nominations, and I haven't done that lately, and I kind of think the format is dying, and obviously that's not a narrative exclusive to me or my thoughts or my channel. A lot of people have said similar things, and if you look at ratings for the Oscars, we're down like 64% this year. It was similar for the Grammys, it was similar for the Golden Globes, and now it's become similar for country music as well. I mean, the CMA ratings plummeted, the ACM ratings plummeted. And it just feels like, was this only quickened by the pandemic, or are all the things people say if we don't want to hear celebrities preach at us true? I don't think we can fully know the answer. I think it's probably some combination of both of those things. I think, like, when the pandemic is going on, you're not getting people going to the Today Show, which then hypes, like stuff's happening, but all these Zoom interactions aren't that interesting, and I feel like the media hype machine doesn't function as well. You're not getting some star that says something controversial on Jimmy Kimmel, and then that creates a whole media cycle such that they appear on Good Morning America 2 days later to explain themselves, and all this is hyping the release of their show or something. Like, that stuff kind of like is usually how media works, and right now everything's thrown out of whack, and you see the ways in which, when you take away this big promotional element of things, media becomes much more fragmented, which, for people like me that are just independent creators, this has been great for us, because people have kind of been like, well, who else is making entertainment? And they've sought out different sources for it. And I think part of that is what is contributing to these award shows going away, just a more fragmented media experience. At the same time, I do think a lot of Americans feel very preached at by celebrities, especially over this past year, and are tired of listening to that, and award shows have come to be synonymous with this kind of scolding attitude from celebrities, or saying what proper virtue is, and celebrities feel like they have a duty to use their platform well, and people are just like, we don't care, we really don't care, and they're tuning out. I definitely think that's true. I don't think it's as big of a reason as other people are saying it is, because I kind of think celebrities have always done that, right?
And before I go, I just want to say, it matters not what you've done, but what you do with what you've done for others.
They've always done that, but we are very radicalized right now. Everything's becoming radicalized, every single element of life is becoming, you're either on this side or that side. And I'm really just trying so hard to remember that's not what real life is. That's not how real people are, but social media is doing that to us. And so maybe even if the celebrities have only gotten 10% worse, because of kind of how we are, we feel like they've gotten 100% worse. But I do think that's a factor, for sure. Sorry, my camera fell. Mostly, I think the issue with award shows, though, isn't any of that stuff. It's just that it's become a really dated format. I feel like we are at this time now where the membrane between listener and artist has gotten thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner. An artist can pick up a phone and communicate directly with his audience or her audience, and they can just like play a show and live stream it for us, or hop on TikTok and make something funny. And it's almost like award shows are this really old school format of like, we're going to watch a full band play a song on TV. I'm not saying that's bad, and I'm not like, I don't know really what they should do about it, but I do think it's not as interesting as it used to be. We have unlimited access to as much music as we want at all times. And the idea that, we've got this exclusive performance from this artist, like I don't think that really works as a selling point for most people anymore. I think, I don't really know how they fix it, how they freshen it up. The Country Music Stuff Awards, they're going to last forever. But I don't really know what you do. I just think it's almost this antiquated thing that people aren't going to pay attention to, and they're clearly tuning out of. And I will say this too, the more I've read about kind of the Grammy nomination process and the ACM nomination process, and the more you learn about voting blocks and agencies, the more just you realize this is a promotional sham in a lot of ways. There are some categories, like maybe album of the year, where I can like a little bit believe, yes, everyone in Nashville got together and said, Starting Over by Chris Stapleton, we just like collectively feel this is the one that deserves it. And I wouldn't argue with that. I actually think I would have chosen that as well over Never Will by Ashley McBryde. Those would have been my top two at the ACMs. But there's so many categories where you're like, man, I don't know what went down for this person to win, but something had to go down for this person to win. Some kind of trading of votes, like, our agency will put our votes behind your artist in this category, if you put some in our artist and for our artist in this category. And so it's all just kind of a little bit shady. Also, like last year for Thomas Rhett and Carrie Underwood to tie for Entertainer of the Year, and then just this year it's like, just forget that happened. We're going back to Luke Bryan. Like, there's just things where it feels like there's other things at play. That's what a skeptical mind would suggest, but obviously that's only alleged. But yeah, I mean, some of the nominations, like the fact that Look, John Party didn't win anything for Heartache Medication. That's crazy to me. Like giant blockbuster albums like Luke Combs's, there's always like a big commercial performer in categories, and for that to not even get a Grammy country nomination seems suspect. And there's these committees, and the voting process is not very transparent. It all just seems suspect, and I think people are kind of realizing, why do we care? Like, why do we care what we are supposed to like? And I like it, actually. This is kind of, we're all developing a more independent mindset. Maybe. If that's the case, I'm happy with it. You know, I don't want like people to lose their jobs, and I think that on some level these traditions and these institutions are cool, but things got to change sometimes. And if people decide award shows are dated and annoying and boring, I don't think it's a big tragedy if they start to go away. Fell again. Okay, that's because I do this. See, it moves. I only caught a couple of the performances this year. Carrie Underwood's was pretty freaking awesome. I like Dierks Bentley's. What do we think Dierks is trying to do with his hair? I have a few friends that really love the Warring Treaty. I don't like this style of... it's what they got to do right now because the pandemic, although people are starting to play big shows, and that's kind of cool to see those coming back. But the performances that are like... in the Bluebird Cafe or something, these kind of acoustic performances, they just give me 2012 YouTube vibes. They really do. The kind of faux live performances that all the late night shows are doing, where it's like someone singing straight on, but then there's some B-roll footage of them, and it's these really like acoustic, sappy things where they're kind of making love to the camera. Is that not 2012 YouTube vibes? I thought the whack like opener, I think that like Elle King, Miranda Lambert song "Drunk" is like fun. It's just like a fun pop song, but I thought that was like not a good opener at all. I loved seeing Miranda bring John Ingram and Jack Randall out though and sing some of their songs from this upcoming Marfa Tapes project. I thought that was really cool. I continue to think she's such a leader in the industry. Awards wise, man, I don't even really know everyone that won. The Bones won a bunch of stuff, which fine. Who even won Best New Artist? I don't even know. I imagine it would have been Morgan. I don't know where it cut off. I think my phone ran out of space when I was talking about award shows, but that's nothing about award shows. Other thing on my mind, and I found this weird little like cave underpass thing. Other thing on my mind was just album sales this year, because Taylor Swift broke Morgan Wallen's kind of sales record for the year with her re-release of Fearless. You know, Morgan was all genre 10 straight weeks, so I'm not saying anything about Dangerous was not massive, but man, the power of Taylor Swift, that she re-recorded this like teenager country album, Fearless, and it was like that big of a debut with just re-recordings that are almost exactly the same, as close as they can get without getting sued. It's very impressive. She sold like 291,000 equivalent copies in its first week. And good gracious, Taylor. I just think it's cool, you know. At some point I need to do just like a big essay, like what is my take on Taylor in country. I'm sure y'all kind of generally get it, but she's a big old deal. And speaking of gigantic, powerful sales forces, Carrie Underwood, that album My Savior, which I love, I reviewed it in the same video as the Midland record and Ian Munsick. That album is going to end up being a sales behemoth as well. It's really demonstrating some endurance. And the other big like sales story I thought was worth mentioning was, well, two. Florida Georgia Line's last record, super low. Although people seem to be really vibing with the Brian Kelly stuff. And that whole project has just good juju around it. It feels like he really cares about it. It feels authentic. Even if it's like kind of sillier and poppier, I just feel like that's really working. But Eric Church's last record, these Heart and Soul records, not selling like crazy. I mean, I think Heart debuted with 49,000 copies, which is down from like 116,000 for Desperate Man. So I just feel like we've talked enough about the marketing, and a lot of y'all seem to kind of agree with me that a lot of the wind was out of the sails by the time that this record actually came out. And I have a feeling it was due to, I bet the pandemic changed a lot of things with the marketing plan for that one, but it is what it is, you know? And then everything else that's on my mind is just like what I'm listening to that's new. The Kip Moore his new single, Good Life. I was listening to that. It's very funky. He's got that, I mean, he's working with Jay Joyce. That's, I feel like, the big news on it, is that he's working with Jay Joyce. And I definitely hear that. It sounds kind of like reminiscent in some of the production choices, like that kind of low harmony overdub type thing. That feels very Brothers Osborne to me. But that's exciting, to see him kind of like spreading his wings, trying a new producer. I was listening to the Justin Moore record on the way down here. I need to give it a few more listens. It feels like we're continuing Justin Moore being like back to his classic country roots. It's called Straight Outta the Country, which I think is riffing on Straight Outta Compton. So a little bit of a dated reference on the title there, but it sounds really good. A kind of a natural extension of his Late Nights and Long Necks era. A few less drinking songs, which was my criticism last time. So I need to give it a few more listens. You can always see kind of what I'm listening to on my Spotify playlist. I always forget to mention that, but I have a Spotify playlist. Pretty good about updating it with my current faves. Only up to 3 from each album. And what else? I also have a Patreon. I forget to mention that. Oh, here's what I want to know. There was a really good Reddit thread on the Country Music Stuff subreddit, also linked down below, about like album art and album covers you like and don't like. I would love to know your favorite and least favorite album art. And the cover and your thoughts on it. And I think that would be a really fun video. Like the best and worst country album covers. Something like that would be super fun. So let me know those in the comments, and I'll try and cull some from the comments of this video. Okay, check out Triston Marez. Say whatever you want. I'm here. I'm in this beautiful place. I wanted to make a video, but I also wanted to kind of like enjoy my little retreat, and I think I've done both. So follow me on Instagram too if you want to see my pull-up quest. I might go mountain climbing tomorrow, and hopefully my little bit of lat strength, even though I'm pretty convinced I have no lats because I'm so weak, will pay off. But I'm on a quest to do a pull-up. That became my other goal other than make a puzzle this year. Do a pull-up. Okay, love y'all. Bye.